Now, President Obama has been talking about it for years. President Obama really wants to close Gitmo. But what does that really mean? Where will the terrorists being held there end up? Here to discuss, and also we're going to talk a little bit about the Iran deal, is foreign and domestic policy expert Barry Nussbaum. Barry, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
President says he's considering a wide array, those are the exact words, of options to close Gitmo. What do you think he's thinking here, and do you think it's going to be good or bad for America?
You know, I can't figure out, Dr. Gina, why we need to close Gitmo. It's been a confusing thing for me since he promised it in his first term. We've got a facility that's unused for anything but a custom-built prison, far away from any Americans,
right,
from any citizens of America. Everywhere that it's been proposed to be moved inside the domestic United States, there's been an outcry and an outrage from the neighbors. They don't want it in their backyard, and probably for good reason.
Right.
I've never understood why. I understand there's a severe cost. It's about $3 to $3.5 million per prisoner. But considering the types of prisoners these are, and the segregation of these prisoners, and the interrogation that's going on constantly, the intelligence that's being gained, I don't know if we can easily replicate that domestically. Not to mention the fact we'd have to move prisoners out to move these guys in.
What I don't understand is how is he going to get states to take that deal? It seems to me like there would be no state that would be like, yeah, we want the Gitmo prisoners, yes.
Well, so far everyone's lining up against it and saying, you know, NIMBY, not in my backyard.
Right.
And that's pretty much universal.
Right.
This almost seems to be a public relations thing. If you think back, when the prisoners were being moved there, they were all in those orange jumpsuits. And then ISIS started parading their prisoners in orange jumpsuits before they cut them up in pieces on video, or shot them, or buried them alive, or burned them alive. So maybe it's just PR, so the terrorists like us a little bit more, or maybe hate us a little bit less. Other than that, it makes no sense to me.
All right, a story trending today out of Iraq. Residents of a town in Iraq's Anbar province were taken by ISIS to an unknown location, and some of the worst atrocities were committed against them. How can we even talk about closing terrorist prisons when things like this are happening all around the world?
I couldn't agree with you more. And apparently the intelligence that's come out of Gitmo has been staggeringly valuable. Ironically, Obama's been pushing aggressively for release of prisoners. There's about 130 of them left. 55 or so have been cleared for release and repatriation back to the Middle East. A lot of them disappear into the provinces as soon as we let them go, and a number have shown up killing Americans again, not the least of which are the ones that were exchanged for Sergeant Bergdahl.
Right.
At least 2 of them went back to the battlefield to kill Americans, just as they promised they were going to when they were released.
And on another sort of foreign policy sort of deal, the vote on Iran coming up, there are protests happening all over the country. You've helped sort of birth some of these protests and the whole idea of them. One happening as far away as Tel Aviv.
Right.
You told me on the break that 1 in 9 Israelis are strongly opposed to the Iran deal. Do you think that the protests make a difference, though, to this administration?
Well, actually, it's 9 to 1 against it in Israel, meaning against the deal. In the United States, it's 2.5 to 1 against the deal.
Wow.
The part that's disconnected as far as the White House is concerned is the vast majority of all Americans, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, and liberals, are against this deal.
Right.
The more they find out about it, the more aggressive they are against the deal. However, the Democratic side of the House and the Democratic side of the Senate is not listening to their constituency.
Right.
So that's why it's our hope that protests like this will show them, being the guys in the big white building on the Hill, how they should be voting in regards to what their constituents really are thinking. Unfortunately, the Democrats are lining up lockstep right behind their president, who wants this as a legacy.
The Democrat office holders, you mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the Democrat rank and file feel a bit differently than the office holders representing them.
Exactly. The Democrats are profoundly against it. I'm talking about the voting citizens across the country. The Democratic legislators in the House and the Senate are lining up behind Obama for a different reason. Some are carrots, some are sticks, some are threatened, some are being promised new deals. The amount of gold flowing in the hills, in Capitol Hill down the hallways, is unprecedented to line up those votes. It's the worst deal in American defense history. It may be the worst policy blunder in foreign policy history in America, and it looks like he's going to be able to veto it.
Is there a time where protests have made a difference to this president, as far as you can tell?
As best as I can tell, no. I don't think this has anything to do with what the American people want. I mean, the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, you know, remember Nancy Pelosi on the floor proclaiming, if you want to know what's in it, you have to vote for it.
Of course.
And for 2 years, we've been finding out what's on page 700 and what's on page 600. Yes. Nobody even knew, and it passed. This is actually much worse because it could result in the deaths of millions and millions of Americans if they go nuclear and have the capability to deliver. And that's exactly what we're giving them financially, is the ability to deliver those weapons onto American soil. It's catastrophic, and it really needs to be stopped.
I think, though, a lot of people make the mistake of believing that this is a problem for Israel, that America is somehow isolated in this and this isn't going to affect us. So we'd hate to see that happen to that little isolated country, but sooner or later it's going to happen anyway. We're tired of putting our neck out there, is what I'm hearing from some of these office holders. What's your comment back to that?
You know, Israel is on the front line, but if you look at the facts, what they are buying, they being Iran, are delivery capabilities not for Israel. They already have the missiles to hit Israel. They're developing ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, to deliver payloads onto American soil, onto Western Europe and America. That's not for Israel. They've got the missiles to go there. They're ordering long-range fighter jets from from China. They've ordered 2 different missile systems from Russia. They're building the most advanced helicopter combat facility in the world, all with Russian facilities and American money. This is all offensive weaponry, and it's not for Israel, it's for America. And if you read the Ayatollah's book, it's about destruction of America. He released it right after Kerry came back from Geneva. How about that?
Go figure. Go figure. All right, Barry Nussbaum, check him out. You can find him on Twitter at Barry Nussbaum. TheIsraelGroup.org is his organization.
And Barry Nussbaum Report will tell you all this stuff. It's all there.
All right, awesome. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you.